not too many deck treatments out there that you can apply, and then just a few hours later you're grilling up dinner. Welcome back, everybody. Some of you may have noticed in that last video we have our patio furniture out there on the lawn. A little curious, I know, but it's because our decks have been drying the last few days and they're ready to take on some stain. We've got two fantastic products I felt compelled to share with you because they've saved me so much time and energy. They're Ready Seal Outdoor Deck Stain and a Graco Airless Sprayer. That pairing has worked fantastically for me, so follow along and I'll show you what we've got to work with. Alright, here's deck number one. This is right about 3 years old. I built it 3 years ago with all store-bought pressure-treated wood. And this has received 1 coat or 1.5 coats of Ready Seal about it was about a month after it was constructed, so it was still plenty of moisture in the wood from the pressure treating process. Still pretty green. You can see this is where we leave our patio table. It has holes in it, so just that little bit of shade caused you can still see some good color there. This is where we have a 16-foot step, so this porch, it's, what is it, 9:30 in the morning right now, and we've got it's pretty much full sun, so anything that's been covered up is still in pretty good shape. I leave our grill in that corner, so that's got some color to it left, but this has all been washed, ready to go. And this portion is closer to 15 years old. Real rough shape, but I pressure washed it and it's good for now. And this is deck number two. This is right at 1 year old. I built it last Mother's Day, or the day before Mother's Day. Spent the day with my mom and my wife. But it's got a 8x8 landing, full-size set of stairs. And this is pressure treated wood from Home Depot still. And yeah, this is untreated. I haven't done anything to it. It's just been drying for a year. So now, very low moisture content, ready to accept some stain. I spared you the preparation process. I've got everything all plasticed and I've got the decks, both of them washed. But I guess I'll spend a few seconds and walk you through what I did. All right, what I did. So the prep process for this is pretty tedious and not much fun to watch, so I didn't film it. You're gonna have a few expenditures for this project. I'd recommend, for one, a pump sprayer if you don't already have one. This is the cheap $10, $12 pump sprayer from Home Depot. Because we're using bleach-based products to clean these, this is gonna degrade pretty quick and it might not be ready for your next project, so I'd write off that $10, $12. Another thing is the plastic. If you wanna cover things up, I've got about $30 and 3mm plastic for this project just because I have such a big area, but it's worth it. So, the deck that hasn't been stained before, we need to clean it real good with something like this. This is a Behr all-in-one wood cleaner. Probably most importantly, it gets rid of that mill glaze from the milling process of this treated lumber. So mix 50-50 this with tap water, spray it all down, spray it with the hose, keep everything wet, let it sit 15 minutes, and then take a bristle brush, something like this, scrub everything, use some elbow grease, and you get everything foamed up, and then rinse it off with the hose or a pressure washer lightly, and your wood's brightened up and ready to go. For the bigger deck that has been stained before, you don't need to use a product like this. You can get by with something a little cheaper. I use this Clorox outdoor bleach. This is all per the spec of the Ready Seal. You don't, just any kind of bleach mixed with water, spray that on there. You don't need to scrub it. Shouldn't need to scrub it unless your deck got real dirty somehow since the last staining. But yeah, spray it on, rinse it off, and you're ready to go. You have a nice clean deck, ready to accept that stain. So this is the Ready Seal you've heard so much about. It's everything it's chalked up to be. It truly is goof-proof. It's leaps and bounds above anything I've used in the past. I've had the privilege of staining and coating all kinds of things, indoor and outdoor. And this is by far and away the best bet, especially for outdoors type stuff. We went with it's called Natural Light Oak. It's a relatively light color. You'll see when it gets on there. But deck at the last house, we went with a real dark color, and though it looks nice, it becomes real hot, especially in the sun in the summer. We like to walk on a deck with bare feet, and we've got 3 kids, so we don't want them burning themselves either. This lighter color does well to alleviate some of that. I'm no professional painter by any means, but I justified the purchase of this airless sprayer with just a few projects. It's not cheap, it's $300 for something that I use once, twice a year. But you can see it comes with some laminated instructions, which are super important to me because I don't do it every day. It's not the most intuitive things in the world, the steps you have to take to prime this thing. But these instructions go a long way. You see I've got a bunch of pails here. I've got a pail full of the Ready Seal, a stain. This is a waste pail. It's just gonna get a mixture of mineral spirits and stain and whatever else I put in there. And then this bucket in the back is mineral spirits. I wish this pickup tube did fit in the neck of the Ready Seal container, but it doesn't. It's a little too big. You can see it maybe in there. But yeah, I think we're ready to start spraying. I was hesitant to make this video just because I know I was gonna make a mess of the camera. I've got everything set up already, but my hand's oily and I have to keep touching the camera. So if you appreciate me walking you guys through this, please consider liking this video, give me a subscribe. We've got the test. This is just a scrap piece of pressure treated. I was testing out my pattern and I think it's nice and good. So we're ready to take you over to the porch. Again, not a professional. I was hoping for a little less windy of a day, but it's kind of always windy up here on the hill. So I'm gonna try not to make too big of a mess. I know me, and that one little section of balusters there would have taken me half an hour. We've got a couple coats on here. You saw me do most of the first light coat, then I went in, had lunch, and we got another coat on here. So you saw I covered up quite a few things, covered up these steps. You definitely want to keep those covered. I failed to cover them the first time. You can see the edges here, and these ended up being slippery for a couple months. So you definitely want to cover up any masonry you've got. It's probably been a couple hours since I did the last coat, and things are pretty well dry. You can see all the helicopters falling off of these maple trees and nothing's sticking. Everything's, I don't have too much oil on my hand after wiping it. So it's quite the transformation in just a couple hours here. So I think we're gonna get our furniture back up here and our grill back up here and cook up some dinner. All right, here's our newer deck after a couple coats. Same thing, it's been a couple hours since the last coat on here, and it looks a lot better, and it's gonna last a lot longer now too. You can see, same thing, we've got helicopters, nothing sticking. You can wipe it with my hand, not overly oily. No furniture to put it back up here, but same thing. Impressed with how this came out. See, there's never too many uses for a tractor. The pallet forks work great for getting this grill up and down. This is about 300 pounds with the table, so I would have had to invite friends over or take it all apart to get it on and off here. That worked great. As long as the lawn's dried out pretty good, we're not leaving ruts with the L2501. See, I'm all showered up, changed. I can't tell if I've got a tan from being out here or if I've got a light oak spray tan. Either way, you should probably be wearing more PPE than I was out here. Long sleeves, pants. Cover up things. You should cover up your wife's rose bush. We haven't killed anything yet. We didn't kill the grass last time around, so I assume we're going to be fine this time, but you never know. Alright guys, if you haven't seen one of these little magnetic bottle openers, they're big hits at parties. I'll put a link to one down in the description here. But overall, super impressed with how that pump works. It was out in the sun. It's about 70 degrees for a few hours anyways. I was probably spraying for a total of 30-40 minutes at the most with both coats. But that held up fine. That stain's very it's very viscous. It's not thick at all like a paint, so I imagine it's not very hard on the pump. But so far so good. That sprayer comes with a pump protector, so you can, for long-term storage. I don't use it very often, but when I do, I know that it's ready to go. I'll put a link to one of those down in the description as well if you're interested. But as always, thanks for watching. If you got any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer.